Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. Another week here in crypto and really looking at what's important right now and what's current. A lot of people are wondering what's going on with the USTC Repeg, what's unfolding with that situation and what's going on with the team side of that thing. Now, what I believe is we're seeing some stalling. This is simply because of the response that they've gotten from the community over the team. There's a real strong opinion about this. A lot of people understand this is very important to us. It's probably one of the most important moves we're going to make as a blockchain in our lifetimes, and it's probably going to do the most for the blockchain. I'd be very surprised if it didn't. Now, a lot of people are asking what is realistically the most current update, and I'm just going to read off what Redline Drifter has put out. Where we are is exactly as I've said in the update. The exchanges move on their time, not ours. I think the community assumes that all CEXs love us, but after the huge pressure we put them under with the burn tax, they do not like dealing with us. I've seen anything burn related immediately shut down or ignored. The fact that they took my proposal and that it was sent to the technical departments for a more independent review shows they see merit in it and what we are trying to do. One of the biggest CEXs has come back with an infrastructure issue on their end. That's not a no, but it means that it will require them to effect the changes to make it compatible. To get them to begin effecting the changes, I think we need to show them more through proof of concept, indicate exactly how much profit the CEXs stand to gain through implementation. If they stand to make multiples of the implementation cost and we can prove that, then we are in a position to ask them to effect changes. I don't have the experience necessary to give them the level of report required. This is why I'm proposing the quant team to do just that. Having spent quite a bit of time since the crash investigating USTC for possible solutions and looking at the different Repeg proposals put forward, I will say with confidence that no matter what we do with USTC, whether it's my proposal or somebody else's, we're going to need CEX assistance. There is such a high percentage of tokens off-chain and that any on-chain only Repeg efforts have minimal, negligible impact. Now, that is probably the most recent update that we've currently got as to what's going on from his seat, where he's sitting and how he feels. Now, what I'm going to do is give my opinion on this, my kind of aspect, and realistically what I perceive as not the dream team, but a team realistically that should be considered or it should be looked at in this manner. Now, yes, we do need CEXs to more or less get on board with this, but it's not imperative. This is a step-by-step Repeg, meaning it's incremental, meaning that we go, in very small steps. When you do that, you start small. What's the best way to start small with something like this and go from proof of concept through the USTC test environment to an actual working product? Well, we just enable it on chain first, right? Doesn't matter how many coins there are off chain. What we need to worry about right now is doing, the small goals, looking at the small things on top of this whole proof of concept, but actually showing them that it works. But Redline Drifter saying that, we're being ignored and stuff to do with burns is immediately shot down. That's to do with the previous community of people that did nothing for this blockchain. It shouldn't affect us. From where I'm sitting, there's a couple of CEXs on chain. There's a couple that run through what I see as ghost nodes, so they don't get seen to be reaping rewards. But this relationship can work both ways, and something I'm starting to realize now is we shouldn't be allowing CEX to harvest rewards on chain if they're not doing anything for us. And I know this is kind of naughty to say, but we're at a point now where we need the support of these CEXs. Ultimately, if we're doing what we should be doing, creating this test environment and then going from proof of concept to an actual working product and doing that on chain, it shouldn't be ignored and it shouldn't be shot down. The issue being is, and as you can see in here, is that it requires movement from CEXs, and this is required with everything, but it costs money. You've got to put people, you've got to put a human which gets paid an hourly wage on this. It costs them time, it costs them resources. So they want, it's like I keep saying, if you buy cheap, you buy twice. If we don't do this right the first time round, it's not going to work, and we'll end up having to backtrack on ourselves and do what we're doing now instead of getting solutions and moving forward. You're actually currently seeing people having classroom debates on Twitter, that are leading to nothing. You're seeing the Twitter Spaces turn back up. You're seeing all of these different, actors coming out of the woodwork and just causing as much grief as they can, because ultimately what people don't want is for us to succeed, and there are wolves embedded in with the sheep, and it's as simple as that. I'm one of them sheep. I'm part of the same, herd, flock, whatever you want to call it, as everybody else. Okay, we're all in this together. We're all on the same boat, the same field. We're all doing this together, and we need to ensure we're doing this properly. So, going now onto what I was saying about not so much this dream team, but what I perceive as what realistically should happen now. If you're looking at people in the crypto space, if we weigh everybody out for kind of their actions and how they've acted historically, well, realistically, you could do Faffy, you could do Redline. Okay, that's two of the people that have more or less come up with this proposal, come up with the idea, they understand it very well. And then hiring a quant, an actual quant from outside of all of this, from all of it. Get them to sign a favoured nations contract so they can't work anywhere else whilst they're working on this USTC Repeg, and have them simply there to be paid and carry out tasks and give input where they need to. And if you realistically wanted to take someone from the blockchain off of their historical behaviour, you could look to somebody like Tobias, Zaradar. Some people are going to disagree here, but if you simply got someone like Tobias in on an hourly wage to perform and complete tasks given to him by the people who are more or less in the know, i.e. Faffy and Redline, right? And someone like that is going to do very well. And the reason why I like to look to Tobias is because he's left the blockchain, right? He walked away and he didn't create a load of chaos. Okay, he did what he said he was going to do, and he got us to where we needed to be. And then when it got to a point where it was too much for him, it's too much for the community, he simply just walked away. And yes, he has a little bit of, this and that here and there, but ultimately he's never gone into sabotage or self-destruct mode, and he understands what commodity pools are. In fact, we've been over it multiple times in different podcasts. Go back and check them out. Having these commodity pools can act as a circuit breaker, a fail-safe, right? To ensure that somebody can't drain the liquidity out of USTC. I think, and the reason why I think this is because, there's so many dangers with this. You need circuit breakers, and Tobias understands stuff. And if he's not got a huge role to play, but only tasks to perform and duties to fulfill, so to speak, from tasks he's being given from a Trello board, for example, it's going to be so much easier. It doesn't have to deal with the public. He can knuckle down, he can get the work done. And I can honestly say from the podcasts I've had with him, he's one of those people that more or less prefer that kind of situation of not having the weight of the whole blockchain on his shoulders. And you're not going to have this issue of him trying to privatize it or him trying to drive it in a direction, because he's simply there just to fulfill a job, take the hourly wage and do what's required. The reason why I think we should get a quant totally outside and independent of this blockchain is because we need a level ground. We need like a neutral factor that has had dealings externally. Yes. And I understand Faffy has huge experience in the external sector, to do with banking, the financial sector, but he's the creator of this. You need somebody who's neutral. This person needs to, we've already got more or less two people on there, and I'm not calling these people out. I'm not saying they don't have these qualifications, but no one's been through interviews, no one's been, doxed or anything like that. And this is such an important thing, and I consistently will always use this as an example. Terraport's hack rug was well planned, well orchestrated, and was planned months and months and months ahead. Okay, they didn't even know what they were embedding themselves for at that point, but that opportunity, it arose for them, and they took, they took advantage of that opportunity and thought to themselves, this is the best time for us to hit them, make ourselves known, and then make off with as much as we can. We don't want to see backdoors put into this USTC Repeg. We don't want to see the privatization of this sector. That would be hugely dangerous. And the biggest risk right now is that money corrupts the best of people. Power does corrupt people as well. We need to... What I honestly believe is a team of similar to that, right? This is not me saying to everybody, that's the team it should be, that's how it should be. I'm simply giving my opinion of how I feel and how I think and how people have historically acted. It's one of those things, and Tobias himself brings a lot to the table. If you go and look at these commodity pools that we've spoken about, it's probably the best way to create circuit breakers and to show the CEXs that, hey, yes, we are doing this, and hey, yes, it does work, and hey, yes, you're going to earn a lot of money, but we've got fail safes. We've got tools in place that are going to prevent a death spiral. This is all going to come down to this USTC test environment that's going to be produced. What I think is even better is I think there's going to be 2 test environments produced. Redline's sort of department's test environment, which will likely be through something like Python, and then you'll have the L1 team develop their own test environment, which will work on chain with faucets and all of those different marvelous things. There's a lot to take in with this USTC Repeg and what has happened recently, because ultimately they can go 2 ways about this now. They can put the proposal up, which they should put the proposal up. I believe they need to put this proposal up as they've put it up, so the community can show those people who are involved with it what the actual community sentiment is, because ultimately we can all shout, we can make videos, we can do all of these different things, right? But it always comes bite to crunch a decentralized decision through validators and community members that hold an LUNC bag, and you're weighted on, you know, your bag, how big your bag is, and your vote, so to speak. So it always needs to come down to this decentralized choice. And ultimately, this is all just my own view here. None of this is ever financial advice. It literally is just educational purposes and mere rants from a guy sat in his computer chair in the morning before he's got to go to work talking to you folks. I myself, like I was saying, want to see this go up, and I want to see the true community gauge sentiment, so then people can better understand it, and then we are also keeping things as decentralized as possible. So, you know, Redline, if you listen to this, get the proposal up as soon as possible so it can be voted on, so then we can then make the decisions as to what we need to do next. Because the more time we spend lulling around, sitting here, bickering, doing Twitter spaces and getting nowhere, we're literally just, you know, showing CZ Binance that, hey, we're not as organized as we've looked recently, and, you know, they're not going to do what we would like them to do. And if anybody thinks that they're not watching and they're not in the know about all of this, you're kidding yourself. Another video coming later on this week as to, you know, CZ Binance, the Binance connection, and taking a deeper dive into what I actually think is currently happening with Binance and their situation and why they're so interested in this blockchain. Folks, have a really nice Monday. I hope you had a lovely weekend. If I haven't earned your subscription by now, I hope I have from this video. Consider subscribing, it really does help. Drop a like, that helps too. Drop a comment on the way out, and if you're still listening to this video up to this point, you know, big thumbs up to you folks. Have a great day. Beware of scammers, beware of doppelgangers, beware of anybody pretending to be me. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and I'll catch you in the next one.